Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped, back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the new Roger, RAYLEIGH, and Gaban. Yes, we are getting a second Roger, RAYLEIGh, Gaban, which is absolutely wild. Super Sugo for part 3 of the 11th anniversary. Now, comparing this to the Roger, RAYLEIGh, Gaban we already have, obviously that is a dual unit with the captain shift mechanic. This particular unit, it's a straight Super Sugo Fest compared to an anniversary exclusive, so they have changed it a little bit there. And on top of that, this character is actually a striker and a slasher character. So they have moved away from what Roger, RAYLEIGh, Gaban is actually doing. They made them more striker-centric, which is actually interesting. They have super tandem, critical, and slot bind resistance. They are an attack style unit in Rumble. They have an int EX for strikers and slashers. And then they have the Roger Pirates and the Egghead tag as well. It's kind of funny that they just sort of slapped the Egghead tag on any character that's just been around for the Egghead arc. So the key points: they can reduce damage by 100%, very similar to old mate Jinbo from the Treasure Map Legend. And they can activate super slashers and super strikers and change fighters into slashers as well, also removing beneficial effects by 1 turn. So really big ability here is the reducing beneficial effects by 1 turn. We've seen it with the initial Roger. We've seen it with Gear 5 Luffy. It does have like massive value when you only need the 1 turn of it. But if, like, say for example anything's like crazy as 2 turns, then it doesn't really see that much play. But it can get you across the line if, say, you need like 6 turns of threshold removal. You bring someone that removes 5 turns and they turn it into 6. As I mentioned, they are an int striker slasher. They're special Storming God Valley on how many cooldowns is it? 15 with limit break expansion. So that's a lot of cooldowns. Reduces special bind by 10 turns and decrease multiplier growth chain rate. The special bind by 10 turns is really good. We've seen how valuable Sabo is from the New Year's celebration, so just be mindful of that. Plus an int territory for 3 turns. This is awesome. Obviously, int territory is the first of the color territories alongside the Psy one that Luffy's Orosanji gives. And we've seen how much extra damage territories can provide. And when you're rocking 3 territories, you can just do absolutely monstrous things. So very, very nice stuff there for extra damage. They're a type effect booster for slashers and strikers at 2.75, which can be boosted 2 times. They also give the chain multiplier growth rate up to 2.5 times if your captain is slasher or striker. This is obviously going to be effective if you get an excellent. And if you have 6 or more slasher characters or 6 or more striker characters on the crew, boost slasher and striker casters type advantage, like the class advantage, by 2.25 for 2 turns. And when there is a Logia, Paramecia type, Zoan, Mythical Zoan type, or Ancient Zoan type enemy, further boost the crew's type effect and advantageous types by 0.25, which also applies to this effect. So obviously, if the enemy is weak to slashers, you're just going to run a full slasher team. If the enemy is weak to strikers, you're just going to run a full striker team. The downside I do see here is that you do need 6 or more slashers or 6 or more strikers. I would have loved if it was 6 or more striker or slashers, so then you could just sort of mix and match and then just make that a little bit easier to sort of get this particular buff off. But unfortunately, it is going to be very catered towards those particular teams. But look, Zorosanji does say hello and just makes everyone into slashers. Obviously, this unit can turn people like characters into slashers, but I feel like you're going to use him more on a striker-based team. If you're going up against a Psy boss that is a Zoan, Mythical Zoan, Logia type, Paramecia, or Ancient Zoan that's weak to slashers or strikers, like, you're going to be able to do so much goddamn damage because this character is bringing class advantage, type advantage, and is giving a territory for int, which would be the beneficial type there. So very, very nice damage output that the character can give with a little bit of utility here. Like the chain growth rate is whatever, but obviously because they are a chain growth captain, well, not chain growth captain, but they give that particular buff as long as your captain is slasher or striker. So you really want to make sure that your captain and the team satisfies what this character is trying to do, which is going to make them very restrictive, to be honest. So a bit of a downside there. The captain ability, year-long objective, reduces int slashers and strikers special charge, verse effects, switch gauge by 2 at the start of the quest. Int slasher strikers get 6 times attack, 1.35 HP. All other characters get 4 times. 20% damage reduction. It makes int and tandem slots matching effects. Has that ability to reduce damage by 100% as the captain for 1 time. So basically what this means is, like I said, it's just like a it's basically just like a nullify damage. I believe it's like a little like yellow symbol, and it does go away as soon as you take a shot. So like, unfortunately, like if you go and move into the stage and they do damage or anything like that, like it's going to go away. But if you don't take damage all the way up to a death shot, then you can sort of use it to like its full potential. But like, I've always struggled with this ability. I've never found it to be game breaking or anything like that. So I think they hold a lot more value than we do as players, but obviously the content has to sort of satisfy that as well. If the crew special boosts the chain multiplier growth rate, extend the effect by 1 turn and boost it by 0.2, which is stackable with other raising effects. So basically their chain growth rate, the 2.5 times with an excellent, goes up to 2.7 times, and you can it'll extend it by 1 turn. So I believe, was it 2 turns with that? It's captained. Yes. So okay, so yeah, it does it for 2 turns, and then they can just turn into 3 turns as captain, which is kind of nice. And then if the crew uses a chain multiplier growth rate altering effect, extend the effect's duration by 1 turn and boost it by 2. Okay, so that's the I believe the tap timing buff that can go up to like 0.7 usually. If the character is captain, friend helper does not count, so the character has to be a captain, then performs an excellent action special for 3 turns, boost the type effects of normal attacks for the crew by 1.3 times, which is pretty goddamn strong. Pretty goddamn strong indeed. So basically what? If you're using this guy as a captain, you get a 6 times captain that goes up to a, 7.8 times captain when you're tapping with type advantage, so kind of sucky, actually, now that I'm looking at it. I wish it was just, like, did it for certain, like, tags, but at least it works for the entire crew, right? So that's always nice. Special bind removal as a sailor, which is awesome. Completely removing that. Int and tandem source matching, and then boosts slashes, int, and strikers base attack by 200. Super tandem when 2 of the following characters on the team. You need Ace, Shanks, Buggy, Newgate, Odin, Toki, Crocus, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Nuzodon, Sandball, that's weird, Bullet, making his return, Garp, and Luffy. Makes recovery and tandem slots have matching slot effects for 1 turn, and it gives a 3-time stack boost to Slasher and Strikers. I believe this is, as a flat rate damage output, this is the strongest super tandem that we have in the game. Besides this, I can think of a 2.75 with Law Kid, but otherwise, this seems to be just, like, in terms of raw power output, this is the strongest. But, look, I don't think it's anything to, like, go crazy and chase when we've got, like, other characters have great super tandems, like Zoro Sanji, for example. EX Super, activation when 2 or more of the following characters on the crew. Double character count as 1. Obviously cannot be used as a sailor, which sucks, but it is what it is. Ace, Shanks, Buggy, Newgate, Odin, Toki, Crocus, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Nuzodon. Basically all the same characters that we spoke of. Bullet, Sambal, yep, sick. Changes slashes and strikers into supers, and then changes the fighter characters first class to slasher unless they already are. So you have to have a fighter that's like the first class is fighter. So going to be very, very restrictive. I think the only ones I can really think of is maybe some Luffy characters, maybe some Garb characters that'll sort of work with. Other than that, like, you're not really going to have too much effect with this. Reduces all enemies' beneficial effects by 1 turn as well. Support goes on any int slasher, gives a 15% base attack rise. And then in Rumble, on a 36-second cooldown, which is massive, at level 10, targets all enemies ignoring defense for a 1.5 times damage. And then when HP is 40% or below, targets all enemies for 4 times attack. Targets Roger Pirates for attack, speed, defense up level 5 for 20 seconds. This is a lot of damage, but, like, having to beat a HP threshold, especially below 40%, is actually really hard to do. So most of the time, you probably just see this, like, 1.5 times damage, and that's probably about it. Plus, if you, like, think about how many Roger Pirates are in the game, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of Roger Pirates. So, besides maybe, like, Int Shanks, for example, I can only think of, really, that's going to be the best sort of character you can kind of use alongside them. But, you have a look at their Rumble ability, targets Int type and Striker class teammates for HP up, defense up level 6, blow away up level 6, and CT speed up level 3. And then Roger Pirates get attack up and speed up level 5. When 6 or more Int type characters are on the team, when this character is KO'd, activates the Rumble special 1 time. So awesome that you can just, like, build 6 or more in characters on the team, which would be fine. You could run, like, S-Hawk, you could run, like I said, Verse Shanks. There are in slashes that work very, very well, but as you can see here, like, most of the time, like, int and strikers. So again, you could throw on, like, I don't know, like, you could throw Saturn on the team. You could throw some other, like, wonky strikers that kind of would help, maybe like Nami, but, like, all, like, I don't know, strikers are just weird, man. They're in a really weird spot. You really want to satisfy the 6 in characters, so that's going to help out a lot. GP burst after dealing 25,000 damage. Int and Psi teammates get defense. Targets Psi and Int enemies, ignoring defense for a 2.5 times attack, and then all enemies take 7,000 damage. Dex quick Int teammates, HP recovery up level 6, defense up level 4. Strikers and slashers get attack speed up level 6, CT speed up level 3. Then Roger Pirate teammates get attack up and recovery up level 5. So overall, like, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this character. Like, I do like that they have gone differently and they've sort of gone towards that striker tag and they are giving buffs to strikers, but like slashes is like where all the goods are. So I feel like you're going to try and make this character work the most on slasher teams. Like with Zoro Sanji, that's really not that hard to do. We've seen that with Shanks, but like, I don't know, man. Like, there's just a lot going on here, and it's very restrictive for what they're trying to do. I am curious to see what the striker team is going to look like moving forward in PvP, though. I have already done a video where strikers suck, but look, once these two characters come out with RAYLEIGH GABAN, and then obviously the Shiki, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, like, we should see some pretty interesting stuff for that striker base build. But let me know what you guys think of the character. I actually like the character, but I just don't think they're groundbreaking. I don't think they're anything too exceptional that it's kind of like a must-have, which is very strange for a Roger-based unit. But at the same time, it's nice to see that we're at the back end of the celebration and we're getting more Super Sugos, and they're not exactly like, oh my god, I need this character to make my account super future-proof. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Way down there, but like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please enjoy us today. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Let's